Are you ready to scale your career globally? We have shown the path before. Now, join PlyVerd founder Daniel Amadi. Welcome to Building Borderless Careers Edition 2.
All right. We are live. We are live. And today we are hosting the second edition of Building Borderless Career, and it promises to be an awesome session. So while we wait for the speakers to join us, um, I would want to talk about a few things. So the last session was we had uh, happiness MOD and Dr. Charles Michel, you speak about a few things, how to position yourself for building borderless career. And those sessions was so impactful that we decided to also extend the topic as well to also go beyond just positioning. We talk about the infrastructure that makes up building the borderless career, because beyond just positioning yourself, beyond just having a good CV and doing other basic things, there is a lot more behind the scene, which our speaker mentioned a part of it during the last session. Beyond what you do at the surface level, there are also other things that you need to do that may not really feel like it's a surface level thing, but it helps you to um, build a career, a global career that is accessible and empowers you to do more. So while we wait for the speaker, okay, we have one of the speakers here. So I will run through his profile. Um, I will run through his profile while we wait for the second speaker. Just a bit. Let's see. Thank you. So guys, please just give me a minute. I'm trying to share um in present. All right, so I'm going to be reading profile of one of the speakers. Please, like here. Please, can you see my screen? I'm not sure this is showing live yet. Unfortunately, it is not. So let me bring on board this speaker, since I can't. I'm unable to share my screen, so. Sorry guys, having challenges sharing the correct screen. I don't know why. Okay, I think he's live now. All right, so the second uh one of the speakers is here right now. But Batel, I think you are live here. So I'm going to read his profile. So we have one of the speakers, Bamidele Tony. He's a digital innovation officer at UNDP Nigeria and technical lead for innovation and digital economy development under the integrated smart state program. He works with African. Sorry, please, can you hear me? Please confirm you can hear me. Okay, great. So he works with the African government and institutions to drive AI adoption, digital public infrastructure, and public sector transformation. As an AI policy specialist, he has contributed to designing national AI strategies and championing sovereign AI as a strategic capability for economic resilience. An AI good for governance advocate to promote responsible and human-centric governance that balances innovation and accountability. He's also the author of The Venture Metrics. I wish I had the book here. I would have shown you a copy of the book. He wrote a book on venture metrics for the future of Africa, the game plan, a 7 phase agenda for youth economic inclusion, le- and leads the Get Accelerated program, empowering early stage um, entrepreneurs across Africa for funding, mentorship, and AI-driven growth frameworks. So I could go on and talk about his works, but I think it's best that you hear from him directly. So the mic is up to you, Mr. Toyin. Welcome to Building Borderless Career.
No, can you confirm you can hear me? Because I'm unmuted. Okay, but I think your mic is off. So
Yeah, I just turned off my mic now.
all right. Okay. So do you want me to start to speak already? I thought it was a conversation or something.
Okay, I would love you to speak them before we can ask questions later, but just a bit of
Okay.
intro, and we can go from there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Tony Bamidele. Most people engage me as Batel. And I'd like to introduce myself as Africa's Prosperity Advisor. And I think that would form a basis for the conversation around building borderless careers and, the infrastructure behind global opportunities. I like to introduce myself as a champion for unlocking prosperity in Africa through Africa's transition into a digital world. One, of course, is to make that impression that you understand who you're speaking to and the things that drive me and the things that give me a sense of purpose and identity, but also to help shadow what I think that the future is about, right? Which is the first case for what I think building borderless careers today actually means. In the world where technology is shaping how we connect, how we live, how we work, it is increasingly more crucial that individuals start to define their purpose. Because trust me, as the world unfolds, purpose will become one of the most difficult conversations. In fact, two conversations become very difficult for the human race: purpose and identity. Because when we have AI and robots astronomically being the active, for lack of better words, stakeholder behind the production of value, which, economic goods and services, we as humans will start to ask ourselves, so what's our purpose, on Earth? Because most of us, or by nature, we find a sense of purpose by the things that we do, the value that we create, and which leads us to the second conversation, which is about identity, right? So I think that we need to, as a generation, as a community, start to think about that. And you start to now cascade that into what you currently do for work. When you think about building your career, when you think about, exploring global opportunities, you always would start with purpose. Or even more increasingly in today's age, purpose is going to be one of the critical driving factors behind building borderless careers. And this is what I mean. I feel like we're going to pass an age where your stomach infrastructure, your needs. Can you still confirm that I'm with you? Okay, I'm back. Okay. Can you confirm you can still hear me? All right, good. So I think
Yes,
we're
I
going to
can.
get to a phase. Okay, fantastic. I think we're going to a phase where what would drive your career is purpose, purpose in the sense that what is that value you want to create? What is that problem you want to solve? What is that existential reality that you want to actively contribute to? Right? How to use today's resources, knowledge, and tools to actually achieve. For example, for me, I am very invested in unlocking prosperity in Africa. So that's a borderless career, because the whole world right now is interested in Africa. The whole world right now is interested in what is the future of Africa. So no matter what I do today, my purpose is defined around Africa's prosperity. So that's why if you look through, my bio that has been read out, if you know me personally or you check me out online, you will see that everything I do is related to how do we leverage innovation, digital economy development, digital transformation to unlock prosperity. In fact, I'm currently working on a project that is actually defining prosperity within the African context. But the point I'm trying to make is, because I define purpose, I am boundless, I am borderless. You can move me to the east or the west today, and I'll be relevant, because my defined purpose in Africa's prosperity gives me as my own infrastructure for opportunities, right? In the future, government across the world who want to understand Africa, we need to speak to people like me. The people who need to engage people like me. That's why I'm also practicing an identity, Africa prosperity advisor. I know that prosperity is something that everybody wants, but from a little experience, it's something that of us mind. Most will think prosperity and think of money and wealth and things like that. But I've done my own,
So, sorry about that. I think his connection is having a little bit of issues. But what he's trying to say is that all his work around Africa, all his work around AI adoption, at least I know Batel. I know him, at least we've known since 2002 when I met him, and till now, all his work across the UNDP, his work across governance, across the ecosystem has been all around trying to unlock prosperity for Africa. And his work, like I said, he works with UNDP, he also works with the government. So it's more than just about building careers, about what are the things that has helped him to position himself for that kind of opportunities. Oh, thank you. Yes, he was breaking. So what has helped him to position himself? So these are the factors that we have to look at. And these are also what he also doing. Using his program as Get Accelerated and other things that he has been doing, all he's been doing is helping to shape the African economy, helping to help people build a career beyond just what you see. Let's welcome him back. He's back to the stage.
Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry, I think I'm having a really
Welcome back.
erratic network. Um, internet service is down. Daniel, can you confirm you can hear me? I can't even see your video, or maybe I might have to turn on video.
Whoa. I can see and hear you. I can see and hear you. Just go ahead. Um, can you hear me, Batel? Can you hear me?
Is there a way to validate that I can be heard and seen at the moment?
Yes, I can hear and see you.
I can't even see Daniel. Maybe let
Whoa.
me log out and log back in.
Okay. I think you need to go out and come back. All right. So why he does that? So the point I'm trying to make is this, because one of the challenges that we have is that people do not understand that there is a structure to how you build a borderless career. It is not just something that you wake up and do. You have to be intentional about the work. You have to be intentional about how you position, how you structure the entire process, so that when your work is being seen and read and heard by people, it creates an impact that makes organizations like the UNDP, the UN, and other bigger organizations to want to work with you. So, in this conversation that we're having today, it's about the infrastructure that makes this possible. Because beyond what is being seen and heard from the face level, there's also the back end, which is the infrastructure that builds the rails upon which you can build your career and be able to position yourself and build a borderless career. Today, I'm currently actually in a meeting or a conference that is focused on helping people access global opportunities. A UK organization who came here to Lagos today to speak about something. It's all about how do you position yourself for global opportunities. Can you hear me, Batel? If okay, your mic is mute. You need to turn your mic.
Hi, Daniel. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you definitely. I can.
Yeah, I think I'm having really bad internet. Apologies.
No problem. Just go ahead. If the video is telling, just go ahead and speak.
All right. So the last point I was trying to make was, now I was saying that if you ask, prosperity is something that a lot of us want, but if we ask, what's prosperity, then you start to hear different things, is having money and things like that, right? But for my little research or for my little work in that space, the intellectual rigor in defining a Pan-African context for prosperity is almost non-existent. So anyways, the point I was trying to make is having a clear sense of purpose. Of course, purpose is in the doing, right? But discovering early, right, make it a real point of focus as you think around global careers and global opportunities for borderless careers, is to have a sense of purpose, because purpose and identity will become a competitive advantage in this defining decade for the world as we transition globally into one digital economy, right? The second thing that I think would create or would be an infrastructure for global opportunities is career, creativity is going to be a critical infrastructure accessing global opportunities. It will be how resourceful are you to combine existing resources to solve problems, also create value, right? So, the last decade, the center of the conversation is get skills, get the right skills and things like that. But even the nature of skills are fast evolving, right? So it's not just about those typical skills that we're talking about right now. Critical thinking, those, I don't even like to think of them as soft skills. I think we need a new name for them. Maybe they are soft hard skills or hard soft skills or something. But yeah, I want to center on creativity. Of course, there are the other ones that are taking more prominence, like your ability to collaborate with people, your ability to think critically, your ability for pattern recognition and analysis, all of those things that are in fact, let's put them in one bucket and call them cognitive skills, right? So all of those things that require cognitive competence, right? Which of cognition is creativity. There's a joke I normally crack within my circle when we're thinking about this kind of futuristic type conversations, where we say that life is a cycle, right? So all of those games we used to play when we were children, my dear brothers and sisters, you need to go back to them if they will help you unlock your creativity. So your ability to, for example, put in a prompt to, use AI for generative content and things like that. That's what is now the infrastructure for accessing global opportunities. Your ability to sit down with Claude and create something, your ability to analyze a problem critically and use Claude, use Anthropic tools, use all of those things to create solutions, improve processes, become more productive. That's really what is defining global opportunities, or the tools for building borderless careers. The third thing I want to say is, the world is very interesting. Everything is an evolutionary concept, to be honest. In the last half of this decade, there was a lot of buzz around networking. Any small thing, somebody will tell you need to be able to network. As you're going for this event, ensure you network and all of that. Now that has evolved. In today's conversation is about community. What community are you a part of? What community are you starting to, right? So in building borderless careers, right, I've mentioned three things, right? Number one is crafting or having a sense of purpose and identity, very, very critical. I've spoken about creativity, and now I've spoken about being part of communities. Communities are a big infrastructure for accessing global opportunities, because information right now is the volume and access we have for information is crazy, right? It's crazy. So you need this kind of infrastructures that help you blur out all of the noise, that helps you focus on what is and what is relevant, right? So communities is an infrastructure for how that is currently happening, right? I was talking to my friend yesterday, he's currently in the UK on a global talent visa, and he was telling me, oh, somebody saw your flyer somewhere and wants to connect with you. I'm like, who is this person? Does the person know me? Like, person doesn't know you. It's just that I shared your flyer within our community and the person found you interesting and now he wants to connect. And I'm like, okay, what community is that? And he said, Global Talent Visa have a community in the UK. So communities, like it's an infrastructure. Every what will I call them now? Like every ecosystem, yes, every ecosystem across technological stacks. For example, Web 2, Web 3, AI, all of that, all of them have some form of communities, right? I remember that when Web 3 was still just up and coming, communities was what was driving adoption, and things like that. So you need to be part of a community. And if there's no community that you're a part of, but I say this with a pinch of salt, create your own community, right? But of course, I'm very sure there are a lot of communities. Join a community, be active in a community, contribute to a community, build with a community. Those things are very critical. Another infrastructure for building borderless careers, is actually knowledge. I know it seems simple, but let me paint a different scenario around knowledge. Knowledge right now is accessible and all of that, but your ability to create knowledge within this existing knowledge economy is another value in itself. For example, I like to tell people that whenever I'm invited to speak, I always like to do a quick test where whatever I'm going to speak on, I run it through ChatGPT first. And if it comes up in ChatGPT or in a Google search, I'm not going to say it, right? I always stress test myself to create new knowledge, right? In other opportunities, where I'm given the platform to speak, I believe in co-creation. When I'm given opportunities to speak, it's just that this is a one-way one-way speaking platform. I would have liked to co-create new knowledge with you to say, what are your perspectives? Let me share mine, and then let's merge, right? Because that is how we position ourselves for global opportunities, right? For example, my work at UNDP is leveraging knowledge to create knowledge. To say, for example, we're running a very transformative program called the Integrated Smart States Program, and we're trying something new to say, how can a state leverage its own capacities to accelerate development outcomes? It is not something that is normally done, right? Because we in ourselves operate in a certain type of way based on international standards, right? And now we're having to create pathways, new pathways.
All right, so I'm not sure. I can't hear him again. Please, if you can hear him, could you confirm in the comment section if you can hear him? Because I can't hear him anymore. So one of the things that he was talking about before this is about building communities. Because one thing I also realized is that whether you are launching a product, building anything, or even trying to grow, community is one thing that is very, very key to ensuring that you have a successful experience. Communities is part of the infrastructure that ensures that you have access to key things that you may not have access to if you are not part of them. I think also the last speaker in the last session also mentioned it. He clearly said it. I think it was Happiness that mentioned it, that one of the things that she has also done for herself is to be part of communities, be part of an ecosystem that ensures that she is updated with what is happening and how to be able to access opportunities that may not be available to everyone in the public, because most times these opportunities are shared within the ecosystem first before it gets to the public. So if there is one thing that you can take away from this session is that whatever you are doing, whether you are looking for looking for the global job markets, positioning for opportunities, or trying to access anything, you need to be a part of a community. There are several communities that are out there. You can find yourself, and also you can also be a part of our community, because we also build a community whereby we share deep insights, share um, opportunities that you can access, and also give you resources that helps you build that borderless career. Um, Please, can you still hear me? I don't know if this is coming from my network or from elsewhere. All right, so while we look at this, if you can hear me, please drop a chat in the comment section so that let me be sure that I'm still live and can be heard. So, like you mentioned, knowledge is an infrastructure. While information is readily available everywhere, knowledge um, personal knowledge goes beyond just that. It helps you to know the things that help you. Probably you're preparing an application for either the job market or preparing application for a visa or preparing application for whatever you are trying to do or building your business. Knowledge goes more than just being information. It helps you to become a better person. It helps you to access opportunity. The knowledge you have is what gives you an edge over the next person. The knowledge you have, the knowledge you have is what helps you be better than the next person. The knowledge you have is also what helps you to position yourself better than the next person. Because in the midst of 150 or 1,000 uh, uh, applicants who are applying for a position in a particular place, what is that thing that stands you out? What is that thing that makes you be an exception among other people? That's what knowledge also does for you. Welcome back to the stage, Bartel.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like, I don't understand. It's really disruptive. Yeah, so I was making a point about knowledge, and I was saying, it's about cross functionality of knowledge, pollination of knowledge, right? You in this age need to know something about, everything to some degree, but especially when it comes to differentiating yourself in the market, right? There's also this small joke I used to have with my friends where I used to say, like, the future you have um, a doctor who has to be aware of data analysis and needs to be able to use a Power BI tool to visualize his analysis of a patient's record, and things like that. So you need that cross functionality of knowledge. You need to get interested in the things you're not interested about, right? Because you'll be able to draw new knowledge, new inspiration from that. I know, for example, in one of our projects is one of the universities, prominent universities in the country. I heard something about medical I've forgotten the name, but there's this whole interesting course around the combination of medicine and mining, and I'm like, wow, that's new knowledge. It's not something that you typically just be able to fathom, right? So that's another infrastructure, cross-pollination of knowledge, your ability to get comfortable with new versions of knowledge based on cross-pollination of ideas. So I think, this forms like a basis for my thoughts around building borderless careers and the infrastructure behind global opportunities. Yes, thank you very much for now.
All right, so this session has been great. This and a Q&A session, but I would love to have the second speaker join first. The second speaker join first before we do the Q&A, because it's more about let's do the intro, then so that you can ask questions. Then we also do a bit more. So let's welcome the second speaker to the stage. So I'll do a bit of intro for him. Would love to probably see your face for a little bit. So Tom Chris Emewulu is the founder and the founder of CFAN. SFAN, sorry, please. So SFAN was founded, I think, 2010, if I'm correct. So Tom Chris Emewulu is the founder of SFAN, that starts from All Nations, an education and human capital company that has trained more than 20,000 young Africans and is the creator of Ready for Work, an AI-powered platform that help um, early career professionals build market-relevant skills and connect with employment opportunities. It advised fintech, e-commerce, and creative economy companies on growth and marketing. As Chartflow first marketing hire, he helped to scale the company through organic content and replace a $73,000 cost in ads and also help them to scale to 49 million in total funding. He's also the author of Creative Hustle and Breaking the Limits. His work has been featured in Forbes, DW, SABC, showcased in NASDAQ Market Towers, and more. He's based in Accra, Ghana, and he's a Nigerian actually. So welcome, Tom Chris.
Thank you, Daniel. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I apologize because I've been looking forward to this meeting actually, but some things came in between. I was deliberating whether to cancel or not cancel, but I have to be here because I haven't actually attended any of your sessions, so I can't show my face for now, but just know that it's me talking, it's not AI. Hello, Batel. I enjoyed the contributions you made. When you were having some of the brief internet difficulties, it reminds me of why, as we talk about global careers and portable careers, is still a challenge for those of us living on the continent because these internet issues are being factored in work disruptions and some of the challenges we have to overcome to even be as competitive as others elsewhere. So I think this is one of the topics that perhaps we can talk about in subsequent meetings. Some fluctuations of where we live contributing to some times when you start work, how when you finish work. So you have to have maybe 10, 12 devices to do one thing, whereas your colleagues elsewhere have just woken up, log in, and everything is moving on. But you have to manage a million things at once before you can just start your day. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. I hope you've been having fun. The session has been insightful so far. And I believe you've made some notes. I've been reading some of the comments. So thank you so much, Daniel, for what you're doing, what you've started doing with this experience. My name is Tom Chris Emewulu, not Tom Cruise. He's the one in the movie. I get called Tom Cruise sometimes. My company is Stars from All Nations. And yeah, like Daniel said, I live in Accra. I came here for education. And I discovered in 2013 that of all 66,000 young people that graduate across the country, only 3% could find work within 1 year. So it get me thinking because before college, I had been working with my big sister in her company. And from there, I built some capacity. And in the process, I read a book called Why We Want You to Be Rich. And the book, it itemized some of the things that it supposes that will not excise from society. We can task out of society. The form might change, delivery might alter, but these things will remain as core human need. One is education, but of course, the first is housing because we need to live in a house. Then food, everybody needs to eat something. Clothing, we all need to wear something. And then education, without which our civilization will collapse. We might as well go back to the caves. So you have a means for offer and receiving, which is money, then oil or energy. So, in canvassing all of this, I thought to myself, okay, so where do I belong? What's my purpose? You were talking about purpose and building purposeful career. So, I was wondering, what should I do with all these abilities that I have as every other young person? When you're young, you have so many things you think you can do. And I figured out that education seems to be the primal one. I'm so passionate about helping young people, helping individuals answer some questions that they struggle with. So I thought, okay, I'm going to build an education company, but before that, I'll go back to school and study accounting to understand how money works, and try to do something with education. I was wanting to go to Canada, like many of us, but it was taking some bit of time. So I thought, let me go to Ghana and see how the country is. And I came to Ghana. It was an opposite of what we know in Nigeria. So back then, I hadn't met many Ghanaians beyond the ones that helped us with carrying some of the goods and doing the clothes, the tailors and the shoemakers and things. So I thought every Ghanaian is a shoemaker, every Ghanaian maybe is doing those menial jobs. But when I came to the country, it was like amazing. So I decided to settle in Ghana, did my college, and in 2013, in the second year of that experience, I discovered the need, like I said. So we began by hosting events. We hosted careers fairs, business breakfast meetings, and student entrepreneurship week. But ultimately, it was basically to spark conversations, to spark meaningful conversations like what, Daniel, you're doing now. So I wasn't so sure what that education vehicle could be, what could help me to plug that gap that I discovered. So, but I was listening, I was learning, I was making my own mental notes and taking information. So I discovered that as much as we talk about youth unemployment, principally, what causes youth unemployment is skills, access to job sources, and then, of course, access to jobs, because some sectors were not producing as much jobs like people who are graduating. There are a lot of us. For example, UNDP data, Battelle, this data, about 12 million people graduate across the country, but only 3 to 4 million jobs are created annually to absorb these individuals. So even if we trained everybody, there are still sectors that will not absorb them because there are not enough jobs. Then you have coach services, passing on knowledge from one generation to another. Because, Danny, I'm sure you have some individuals that look at you and think, oh, how can I be, like you? How can I do what you're doing? How can I become, earn as much as you earn? But they don't understand who was Daniel at 18, who was Daniel at 22, who was Daniel at 25. So, but Daniel know what he was doing at 22. You know what he was doing at 18. So, but you can also pass on this knowledge, So I thought to myself, okay, so now how do we answer this question beyond events that, we have wonderful experiences at the events, but the shelf life of impact sometimes doesn't track forward, For example, I just sent Battle a connection on LinkedIn because I enjoyed what he was sharing. But that doesn't mean that every day Battle will have time to have a chat with me on LinkedIn. So as much as we've engaged through this event, sometimes creating that shelf life of conversation, connectivity is not always possible. So I was sleeping one day in 2016. I was thinking about, because I was about to graduate in the course, I was thinking about, now what do I do? Should I optimize for careers in the UK and US like many of my friends? But I'm so passionate about the continent and solving this problem that I already started. So what should I do after college? What should I do? What should I do? I remember I was in the hostel that night and I heard a voice in my ear, like as audibly as anybody can imagine. It was like somebody was talking to me. So I heard ready for work, ready for work. Because we've been doing coaching services, bringing industry to the classrooms, doing events, bringing communities together to spark meaningful conversations between industry players and early career professionals and students. Doing breakfast meetings to give students access to CEOs in big corporations and the student entrepreneurship. So I was like, okay, so this is what I was going to do. I was going to create a platform and try to provide that almost non-existent education to industry pipeline. Victory said I'm breaking. Daniel, can you hear me from your side?
Please go ahead. You are audible. I think is
Okay.
the old comments that are showing up.
Okay, wonderful. So I began, but I wasn't so sure what the platform was going to be like because I heard about AI. I heard about AI in that period. And I got thinking to myself, AI. What is this thing AI? And how does it play into building platforms for career readiness? I studied accounting major and business administration, and I know about business from my previous experience in building that supply services. I think Daniel, that's how we got to meet each other. And I have some fundamentals about business management, but I don't know anything about AI at that period. So I continued with what I knew, which is what I tell some young individual, entry level career folks: begin with what you know and then learn as you go along. So we began with face to face interventions of coaching services, which is bringing the same corporate executives that we've been engaging with, but now in a more managed environment where they can really sit down to talk and engage and pass on their experiences to those job seekers and young people, helping them craft their CVs, craft their personal stories, but teach them how to present themselves in public, or when they meet someone that they've been looking to meet, how do you capture that opportunity to propose and sell yourself? So it was good, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. We had that with Stanbic Bank and some other agencies. Now, in 2019, I began actively pitching about my AI platform. So I remember I talked to one of the angel investors and he laughed me out of the room. He was like, "Are you trying to tell me now that a time will come, a whole University of Ghana will not be you know, as much as we know them to be now? You're telling me that because there is not this, that's why young people are graduating and not finding job." And I was so passionate pitching my idea, but I wasn't seeing it. In 2020, COVID came, and everything that I've been saying began to manifest in that direction. I did some work for some individuals, and in that process, I raised $250,000 to begin building the platform. Because now COVID came, everybody saw what happened in education, and it became obvious that we need that kind of intervention. So we raised $250,000 and began building that AI assisted platform to first help individuals understand how they stack up against the market that they're trying to enter, and then access tailored materials that are not best of knowledge or just about anything at all, because nobody really knows how prepared a person is for a career. Nobody knows whether they can objectively do the job they say they can do. Nobody knows how to ensure that they are progressive on that job. And so students, when they want to learn something, I want to learn data analytics, but where do I begin, and those kinds of things. And then how do I know that I am ready for work? So this is the knowledge and intelligence that we're providing. We began with building the platform in 2020, piloting. We entered an accelerator program by Village Capital and IFC, which helped us to consolidate the idea. We piloted it. We had, progressively, we've had 7 pilots now with 226 people graduating from ready for work, and we had 95% integration in I think nine months, which is impressive compared with the going concern in Ghana is still 10%. University graduates spend 6 years looking for work, and it's not just Ghana, across the continent. But I'm sure you know this number. So we had 95%, which was really, really good. And in 2022, we joined the NASDAQ Entrepreneurship Program. And, Daniel, you read my profile about being featured on New York Times Square, which was where that happened. So we took all the information that they gave us about, not just building another LMS, because I've been talking about the fact that for over 100 years, workforce readiness training and education has predominantly prepared people for passing grades collecting degrees, not principally building purposeful careers. So people have an accumulation of degrees and certification. They go from program to program to program, but it doesn't seem to be a full stop. I finish here, I transition into industry, then I work and I progress in my career. And of course, obviously, now I need to add on knowledge. So that's what we took in to rebuild what we've had now. And earlier this year, as you would have seen online, we partnered with the British Council to train 100 entrepreneurs. And next month, September, we'll be launching the bigger vision that we have, which is given to entry-level job seekers and early career professional that tool that help them to really build their careers on their own terms. And that's ready for work. So that's what I've been doing in between days. I've been consulting with a number of companies. In 2023, I worked with Arizona State University under a MasterCard Foundation project that trained their scholars, some of select the top scholars across the country, the continent, excuse me. And we did that project for 1 year and 1 month, beside my mentorship that had run about 3 years. So in that capacity, they used the insight I provided to decide how to, as part of their portfolio, to decide how to provide digital mentorship to young people across the continent. Yeah, you read about Charge Flow. Is one of my passions, marketing, providing growth systems and growth services to high-rising organizations. I was the first marketing hire, actually the first ever hire. Is an Israeli company based in the US in Delaware, and helping them to project themselves in markets, capturing attention and growing the marketing function. And weekly, I saved, to the last count, at least $73,000 every week in paid ad. I replaced that for organic storytelling, content production, SEO services, Google visibility. AI visibility on Google and several other platforms. If you go online now and type chargeback management, or say Stripe chargeback or Stripe statistics, I'm sure you can see my work. So that's one of the things I did for them, growing and raising the domain authority to 74 as at my last week. So I did that for 6 years. And anyways, Daniel, you can cut me when you need to. Happy to answer targeted questions, but that's what I do and how I provide insight to organizations and individuals.
All right, thank you so much, Tom Chris, for this. Also, something that was supposed to be in your bio that wasn't mentioned. Last year around this time, August, right? You also hosted a speaking session for 100 hours speaking session where he had lots of speakers, and it's been featured in sorry, what was it called again? I'm forgetting that name.
Oh, you're talking about the
Uh,
Guinness World Record attempt.
yes, the Guinness World Record
Yeah.
attempt.
2024, I did the first one, interviewing 100 people, and you were one of the speakers for last year. Yes.
All right, so I am trying to put on, okay. So right now we're entering the Q&A session. So I will start with some quiz. The first question I have for you, please, if you have a question, please, now it's time to ask questions. How do you build Borderless career? Because he has talked about what he has built over the years, worked with global companies, done lots of work. It is not just something that you wake up and do. It's something that you have to understand what are the processes that leads to someone from almost from nowhere being able to build a career that global companies wants to work with you, wants to partner with you to execute their work. So my first question is, Ready for Work has helped connect early career professionals to real opportunities. What is the biggest misconception people have about making about what makes them employable globally.
The biggest conception about what makes you employable globally is, like if you go back and ask Tom Cruise, 18-year-old Tom Cruise, I have been globally minded from day one, but it's about confidence, Eh, going from Newi where we lived, going from Newi where we lived to where I am now. It took a lot of confidence for me, particularly because sometimes you think the heroes you read about in the books, they are more privileged and more qualified to do some of the things you want to do. I always tell my students, if I knew what I know now at that early stages, perhaps my journey would have been as far, twice as fast as it is right now. So it's about starting where you are. The misconception is about I'm not ready yet. Um, and sometimes it's true. You might not be ready for the opportunity, so you get ready. So starting from where you are, beginning with what you have, and most importantly, looking at what the market is saying, because the market is always the final boss, right? We understand that the market is the primal indicator of where you're going, how you're moving, what you should be doing. So, what does the market need, and what do I have? And then, how do I position myself to show my best assets? Sometimes we look at what we don't have, but we have. Everybody has something. Everybody has skill. So, if it's data analytics that I can do now, where can I apply it? Then you get information, then you see what gaps are available in your portfolio, you fix them. So I guess we undersell ourselves so much, and then you look back and you're like, I wish I knew this 10 years ago. So the message is really what I tell everyone who asks this kind of question: how do I get to work in a place where I earn in dollars? Or how do I stay in my home country and still be serving clients all over the world? Is about find people who have done it before and see how they started, you know. Um, which is why attending this kind of event is important. So you gain information that first is possible. Sometimes it's even possible in your own country. There are organizations in Nigeria that pay well. It might not be in dollar, but they pay very well. So you can do that same work in your country and you will be fine. Again, the other side is the competition, yes, is getting stiff. So just know that just because somebody else is it has that portfolio doesn't mean that it's as easy as that. It might take 10 years for you to go through the ranks and build up your equity accurately. But fundamentally it's about start with the skills that are marketable, and then close the gaps that you see on your portfolio, and of course get as much information as you can from learn as much as you can, attend all the sessions, attend join the communities. Yes, but I was talking about communities here. Join the communities and be visible, be prominent, but don't be a taker. Some people just want to get. It's fine, but try to give, because that's when your name is remembered. I remember when I was working with some of the organizations, and what I was earning was, for example, I had done jobs that I was paid, 1/10 of what I'm paid in another capacity. Meanwhile, in that 1/10, I did more there because I was getting started. I didn't have a lot of bargaining power. So I needed to prove myself. And so I gave 10 times more than they could have paid. And then they referred me to some of their friends. Or even in the process, they kept me longer. So I was able to outlast some individuals. But obviously you have to also know how to bargain. Um, because from where we live, it's easy to see us as uh, maybe not as skilled or not as qualified or not as deserving as others elsewhere. So the longer message I'm preaching is know what you bring to the table, know what you're lacking, close it as fast as possible. Be your own manager before you are managed. Be your own manager. Answer the questions before they come up. Gain oversight into the industry as much as possible, and then of course give. But learn negotiation, bargaining, and asking. Ask, always ask. Always ask. You might not get the raise, but if you don't ask, you will never ever gain. You might never ever gain it. So yeah, that's what I would say.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So, the key point is information, mentorship, access to the market, bringing value to the table, and also understanding what you are bringing, and then they'll be able to ask for the equal value. I may not cover everything, but these are the basic things I think you may also need to take out. Thank you for that. So I will move to Batel. My question to you, Batel, is as as digital innovation officer at UNDP Nigeria, what does the pathway into an institutional role like yours actually look like, and how is it different from what people assume?
I'm sorry, can you please take that last part again? You said what's the role like compared to what people assume?
Yes, that's exactly
Oh,
the question.
um, so the role assumes that you are an expert at everything, but in real life, I'm a learner of everything. Um, my day to day is there is no version of the same problem I'm facing on a day to day. Like my job is very complex. So the assumption that some type of expert, yes, I'm an expert at some type of things, but I mean, like on the day to day, you're really not you cannot be an expert, right? For example, are you an expert on a current evolving complexity around an issue that, even the people who are facing the issue cannot even help you to properly articulate what the issue is. And you still have to find a solution that everybody says, yes, this is what we're looking for, right? So, yeah, it requires you to be a learner. It requires you to listen more than you speak. And then, yeah, you, for example, you have to be aware of everything happening at the same time. Like I'm going for meetings that I have to make presentation on very solid arguments, and I'm just learning about the topic just an hour before. Do you understand? And you still have to you still have to deliver, on your mandate. So yeah, that's one thing. In short form, the position assumes that you are, the expert, but what it actually is you are just really good at learning about, the subject matter at hand. So that's it.
Thank you for that. So it's more like you being a person who is willing to learn and even learn on the job, because irrespective of how you might be an expert on something, there are still areas where you need to adapt yourself, learn, and be able to be better. Thank you for that. So my next question to you again will be, what is the digital public infrastructure in practical terms for someone who never heard that phrase before look like? Batel, can you hear me, please?
I'm sorry, I missed out on that. Can you please take it again? Sorry.
All right. So my question is, what is digital public infrastructure in practical terms for someone who never heard of such terms?
Oh, okay. Digital public infrastructure is building. Okay. For someone who has never heard the concept before. Okay. Now, when it comes to public resources, right? there are certain critical things that define the 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 access to opportunities. So let me put it like that. There are critical things that define access to opportunities in communities. For example, good roads, right? For you to be able to create value, let's say you have agricultural produce, you know, production of that produce in itself has its own value, but to unlock more value, you need good transport to be able to connect you to a market, right? So digital public infrastructure is like that bridge, right? Those bridges, the roads, the dams, and things like that. They are the digital infrastructure required to ensure that there is public access to economic and socioeconomic opportunities, right? So digital public infrastructure is to say, for example, your NIN. Your NIN creates a digital identity that ensures that you can access public services. You want to renew your driver's license. You want to open a bank account. There's a need for a digital component to make that happen. So digital public infrastructure is what enables that to happen. I hope I've been able to simplify it. So just like the example I gave, those critical things that you need to connect value and access, right? Connect people to value and access, especially when it is related to public services. You know, digital public infrastructure is the digital version of your road, your bridge, your train station, those kind of things. Your railway, rather. Train station terminals. So digital public infrastructure is like your digital version of those kind of things. So typically there are three components. Sorry, maybe let me end with this. There are critical. There are three critical components, right? Digital payments, or payments, for lack of better terms. There's data exchange, and then there's identity, right? So if you want to understand digital public infrastructure, is to say, if I want to access digital payments, right, that is of public value, you need digital public infrastructure to be able to do that. Data exchange, you want to be able to access data, you want to be able to control the use of data as an individual. Would I say, for lack of a better word, exchanging your data with different stakeholders, government, academia, everybody. Digital public infrastructure is what connects all of these different components together. So I hope I tried in simplifying that.
Thank you so much for that. So now to you, Tom Chris, I'll ask the question is, how is AI helping people better prepare for opportunities? Because one thing is that, like you said, you already began learning about how to use AI to simplify education through your work in Ready for Work. How does that impact uh, how candidates or people who are preparing for global opportunities, probably for the job market or any other opportunities, how does that affect the work between the work they are doing and what they access?
Yeah. So, the truth is, I need to go back, to set a parameter before I answer your question. The truth is, there are two features facing our generation right now. There are two features facing us. It's either AI becomes an instrument that helps us to eat, right? It's either AI helps us to eat, okay? Or we become food for AI, period. I've said this as a member of the World Bank Youth Voices community. I've said this in some of our meetings, and I've said it in many other places. There are two primal features that are facing our generation right now. Is either AI helps us eat, or we become meat for AI. Everything we do, the prompts we send, the information we provide, the screenshots we upload, everything we do, every line of code, every line of prompt, every single thing we do helps these machines and technologies become smarter. You know, I love AI. As you know, I build an AI product and I've been using AI for many, many years. And um, I embraced AI, you know, immediately I got to really know what it is. And many of my clients are AI companies. And so I love AI, but I'm very, very keen on the fact that these are the realities on the ground right now, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing with Ready for Work, because it's either these technologies provide access to markets, access to jobs, access to training that makes sense for individuals, um, or they are effectively going to become the bigger liability, you know, for our generation. Because back in 2023 or so, we used to say AI is not going to replace you. It's somebody who is using AI that is going to replace you. Now, I don't know how true that is, you know, because we are thinking about somebody who is using AI that will replace you. Yes, obviously, AI is not autonomous in the sense that it cannot sit there and interview me right now, but it can interview me. All right. It can still interview me while you are sleeping. You can put everything about Daniel inside, I don't know, your favorite LLM. You can put it there, the voice notes you've recorded, the speeches you've made, the content you've written, every single thing, and it will be another Daniel. You can train it to become Daniel, and it will be more Daniel than Daniel. Now you can put that intelligence into Elon Musk's robots, and then you will have muscle more than Daniel. You will have intelligence more than Daniel. And they have mobility more than Daniel. And he will have longevity more than Daniel because he will work 24 hours maybe if you have electricity and enough. So what I'm trying to say is the biggest challenge facing us now is how can we extract as much value from this big innovation that has been discovered. AI is a big innovation like fire. Many people have said it. So, but I'm very optimistic. I think in January this year, I said this is the year of abundance, and I think Elon Musk has been saying the same thing over a period now. It's the year of abundance because all truths are parallel. Information has become abundant. You can do anything you want, most things that you want now, cheaper than you would have done it maybe 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you couldn't be doing PlyVerd, right? Because you didn't have to collect all that data to be able to give that intelligence to people to understand whether their visa is A or B. It's not possible. You don't have the money to do that. But now you can do it simply and cheaper. And so things are becoming abundant. Now, how can we create that future of abundance to ensure that it fits our people and not replacing our people? Okay, so that's where intentional use of AI comes in. So that's what I've been preaching and teaching. We do coaching programs with Google. We have another one coming up in October, and it's for entry level job seekers on Ready for Work. How AI helps people to program their career is principally a merge of organic and artificial. That's the future I'm building. There are several features, obviously. Some people who are building a future that I saw a video sometime is a warehouse. Everything there, the machines, the trucks, everything is automated. So no human in the loop except the guy who sits behind the keyboard to ensure that all the machines are working. So my message to young people is to have hope, to maximize AI in the area of helping them think better and not replacing their organic thinking. Okay, so the future I see is a future of organic and artificial, where our organic humanness will inform the career that we choose and the training that we access. And of course, those training helps us to become better at things, that has meaning for our lives. Um, Nobody can tell what this will look like in 2030 or so. But what I see is the promise of a future that is abundant and where people can actually live to their highest potential and unlock several abilities. And it's amazing. I live on AI, and I work with AI a lot. And my message for young people is to spend maximally most of their time understanding this tool, understanding how it thinks, in quotes, how it thinks, how to use it to amplify their reasoning, not replace their reasoning, how to use it to create pipelines, and how to use it to become more of who they want to be. So that's what we are building. If you enroll in Ready for Work, it doesn't replace your ability to do work, but of course, it helps you to become ready for the industry. And we see that in the next 5 years, we're not going to be thinking about who can do what, but the question will be a different question. So the things that will survive now is your ability, your agency, your ability to serve, your ability. Because if anybody can find any answer at any time, then what's the point of education? If certification is not a proof of skill, a proof of competency, and a proof of growth, what is education then? In my sense, in my thinking, education becomes about your ability to connect the world, your ability to have less trouble, your ability to not suffer so much, have less trouble, not suffer so much, meaning find answers to the challenges that you're going through, make it such that people can be able to pay you for being able to solve that problem for them, and access the people that can pay the kind of money you need to cover the expenses, that our world provide for you. So I think that will be what education means. It ceases to be about accumulation of information, but being able to connect that information into different contexts and transform the challenges you are going through into becoming opportunity for growth. So I'll end it there. I would encourage everyone. First, if you are new to AI, understand is a tool. AI is like electricity. You can cook a man's dinner with electricity, and you can also cook the man, right? You can cook a man's dinner with electricity, and you can cook the man. AI is a tool. Maybe it's becoming more than a tool because it seems to be having conscience and attributes of humanity. But principally, it's going to still remain a tool until the digital rights change and the policies accommodate those kinds of things. But see it as a tool. Any tool somebody created, somebody else can learn it. So you can learn AI, you can use AI, you can maximize your capacity in AI, even if you are starting from zero today. Now, know how to use it, not to replace yourself, but to maximize your potential. And then don't shortchange your humanity for anything. Batel hinted on that. The future we are entering is where ability to think for yourself, ability to find your own space in all this complexity. If you search online, you will see one of the trends is people are becoming more lonely. They are looking for friends. So ability to create that community where you don't suffer so much in silence, ability to be able to connect with other people on a neutral ground, start conversations with people that don't know anything about you or don't care about you, ability to not be in trouble so much, because the more we put our information and data out there, the more there is need for us to, create some boundaries and yeah. So those will be things that you should prioritize and learn AI as much as you can, and use it to create a future of abundance for yourself. But ultimately, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity, and wishing everybody well. Uh, on LinkedIn, my profile is Tom Chris Emewulu. You can search for me anytime. You can DM me about some of the questions you have. And thank you so much. I have to run now, but thank you, Daniel, for this. It's been such a great time. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody. Cheers, Battle.
All right. Thank you so much, some Chris. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I appreciate you for coming. Thank you. Um, um, the question I have for you now, Batel, is you champion AI, you champion sovereign AI as an economic capability. What does that mean for an average African professional trying to build a career, not just trying to just build a career for himself or for herself? From Chris, you can exit the call if you want to. But can you still hear me? I think he's having a connection issue again or something. Okay, okay. So please, if you have a question, please could you drop it in the comment section so that we can answer them. We would love to answer your questions. If you have any questions, how do you build borderless career? What are the infrastructures? Some of them have been mentioned on this call already. Um, Build communities, understand how how the employers think, understand what does it take to leverage AI to build and position yourself for the global market. But please, if you are here, if you are back, please say hi so that you can drop your question. We have about two more questions for you here. So it's about understanding what do you need to position yourself for the global market, the skills, the knowledge, the information, the access to the ecosystem, and how do you leverage tools like AI um, to redefine yourself and take on the opportunities that are available to you. So I'm not really sure if Batel is still here. Probably having a connection issue. So please, if you have any questions, drop in the comments. If you are also watching us live, please drop a comment so that let's know that you are here with us. We would love to connect with you. You can also as well make sure you register to join the community. We are also building, like I said, within a community that gives you access to opportunities. And one thing also important, so if you're ever trying to or planning for relocation, one thing that most people do is to jump straight into the visa application itself. But we built something. I'm not sure what happened here now. Next is- So we built a solution that helps you to being able to check your visa eligibility. It's also in the comment section. So if you are applying for any visa, the first step that you're supposed to take is to um, check the eligibility for the pathway that you are looking for. Our system analyzes your profile and gives you a score and also gives you recommendations based on the pathway that fits your profile, the right pathway that fits your profile and position you for better success. So click the link you can see on my screen or in the comment section, check your eligibility, And you also get the report. The report is where the actual details is being fully described. You get a report that analyzes your full, breaks down your profile, gives you a score, gives you an analysis of what your profile looks like, and you can then make a decision on the next step from that point. So thank you so much, guys, for joining this session. I know we're having some connection issues with one of the speakers, Batel, and also some Chris had some other things to that came up, emergency that came up. But that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this session today. It has been insightful. Talk about the infrastructures like building communities, like knowledge, like tools like AI. How do you use AI to refine your knowledge? Use AI to refine your skills. Use AI to um, capture value while also giving value to people. Like what from Chris mentioned, he said something very, very significant. He said it's not just about collecting certificates, it's about how do you transform what the knowledge into a skill that brings value to the table. Bachel also mentioned similar thing. It's about how do you bring value to the table. The employer, whether it is local or international employer that is hiring you, is looking for how do you add value to them. So tools like AI helps you to refine or research to find your unique strengths, find your unique edge, and how you bring value to the table. So, thank you guys so much. It's been an amazing session, and I look forward to hosting you once more in the third edition that is coming up very soon. Stay in the community. Make sure you register and join our community. Make sure you check your visa eligibility on our platform. You will always get to hear from us, and we look forward to making sure that you have access to every resource that we can make available to you to prepare you. You can access other tools like the book by Batel. So in Badidele, you can purchase his book. It's also a knowledge platform resource that can help you. You can also access the program by Ready for some quiz. All we are doing here at PlyVerd is to ensure that we give you what you need to succeed. Beyond just whether you are planning to relocate or even trying to build your skill before you relocate. Because one thing most people do not realize is that even the countries you're trying to relocate to wants to know what value are you bringing to the table. That is why many companies, okay, like I mentioned, uh, an endorsing body is here, right here in a hotel here in Lagos here, trying to show people how to become an innovative founder. They are trying to show you how you can move your talent and skills to the UK. But it is not just for anyone, it's for people who have built a skill, who have shown how their skill sets can transform an economy. These are the people that they are looking for. So that is why also we build a system that helps you to analyze what you are bringing to the table and see does it actually match up to what the economy is looking for. The country you're looking for, the UK, Canada, US, Australia, Germany, whatever country that you're looking for, they are looking for people who have value and are bringing value into the system. So make sure to click the link on the comment section of here. Oh, okay. There's a question here. I would love to answer that question. As a social media manager, how do I incorporate AI into my profession beyond researching and creating content? Oh, okay. This is a very, very I would say specific question. Social media management is not just about creating content or research. As a social media manager, one of the things that AI can do for you is to help you analyze data. The data from the content you've created and the data from other people, because it helps you to understand how does your content perform, how are the users or people who are viewing your content, other reading or watching your content, how do they behave? If you look at tools like the analytic tools on platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, and all that, it shows you the behavior of people. Probably you posted a video, for example, and then that video, some people watched it for like few seconds and then it dives down and then they stopped watching. Maybe at some point it grows up again. So all these data are things that helps you to understand what did you say at the point that makes someone want to watch the content. Where did they start to drop off? What happened at that point? It helps you to understand how do you create better content. How do you not just create content, but create content that drives impact beyond just watching, but people, how do you think that brings people from just watching the content to taking the action that you want the content to perform? Probably your idea of the content is to get someone to read a book or click click the CTA, the action on the content, or get them to react in a certain way. These are things that I believe that AI helps you to do because it helps you analyze data in real time. I hope that answers your question. So I think that will be all for this session. So thank you guys so much for being with us. We look forward to having you in the next session. Do have a lovely evening.
Are you ready to scale your career globally? We have shown the path before. Now, join PlyVerd founder Daniel Amadi. Welcome to Building Borderless Careers Edition 2.